Jack Murphy stood at the viewport of the Star Voyager, watching the massive Galactic Council station grow larger against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars. After decades of scanning the skies, humanity had finally made contact with alien life 6 months ago. Now, as Earth's ambassador, Jack was about to represent his species in their first official meeting with the Galactic Council. "Nervous?" asked Lily Bennett, appearing at his side. Her formal diplomatic uniform looked much more comfortable than his stiff attire. "Just ready to get this over with," Jack replied. The former Marine colonel hadn't asked for this job, but his combination of tactical thinking and straight talk had made him President Campbell's first choice. Captain Kate Martinez's voice came over the intercom. "Ambassador, we're docking in 5 minutes. The reception committee is waiting." Jack nodded to Lily. "Let's make history." The council station was enormous, a marvel of engineering that made Earth's best space stations look like children's toys. Aliens of various shapes, sizes, and colors moved through the docking area. Some walked on legs, others slithered or floated. The sight was both amazing and intimidating. A tall, purple-skinned alien with 4 arms approached them. "Welcome, humans. I am Zornthal, Speaker for the Council. We are pleased to finally meet your species in formal settings." Jack extended his hand, then awkwardly pulled it back when he realized the alien wouldn't understand the gesture. "Thank you for having us. Earth is eager to establish peaceful relations." Zornthal led them through grand hallways filled with representatives from dozens of species. Jack noticed many staring at the humans with what seemed like curiosity, disgust, or fear. The main council chamber was a vast amphitheater with seats for hundreds of representatives. The human delegation was escorted to a small platform in the center. "Representatives of Earth," Zornthal announced to the gathered aliens, "the Council welcomes you as observers to our proceedings. Your species is now recognized as a developing civilization under Council protection." Jack frowned. This wasn't what they had discussed in preliminary communications. "Excuse me, Speaker Zornthal. We were invited here as potential members, not observers." A ripple of something like laughter moved through the chamber. Zornthal's upper limbs made a dismissive gesture. "Your species has barely mastered basic space travel. Council membership requires meeting certain technological and cultural standards. Earth falls far short of these requirements." Lily touched Jack's arm in warning, but he was already angry. "We came here as equals, not as children needing protection." "Equals." Another alien rose from a seat near the front. This one had green scales and yellow eyes. "Your kind still fights wars among yourselves. You have nearly destroyed your own planet several times. The Council has been monitoring Earth for centuries. You are dangerous primitives who must be guided carefully." Jack's face grew hot. "Monitored? For centuries." A thin, blue alien with large eyes stepped forward carrying a datapad. "Ambassador Murphy, I am Council Secretary Frill. Please review the Standard Protection Protocol for Developing Worlds. It outlines the restrictions on your technology development, space exploration, and resource usage. The Council will provide oversight to ensure compliance." Jack took the pad and scanned through it quickly. His military training helped him see through the diplomatic language. This wasn't protection, it was containment. Humans would be kept in a small corner of the galaxy, limited in their growth, their technology development capped, their resources taxed by the Council. He handed the pad back to Frill. "This is unacceptable. Earth will not agree to these terms." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Zornthal raised all 4 arms for silence. "You misunderstand, Ambassador. These are not negotiable terms. All developing species accept Council protection." "Have any ever refused?" Jack asked. Zornthal's expression changed slightly. "No, it would be unwise." Jack looked at Lily, who appeared deeply concerned but gave him a small nod of support. He turned back to the Council. "Then Earth will be the first. We reject these terms completely. Humanity will not be caged or controlled." "Ambassador, please reconsider. Zornfeld said, his voice now harder. Without council protection, you will be alone in a dangerous galaxy. Jack straightened his back and faced the entire chamber. We've been alone our entire history. We'll take our chances. This meeting is over. As Jack led the human delegation out of the chamber, the council erupted into chaos. No species had ever walked away from council protection. The humans had just changed the rules of a game played for thousands of years. The Star Voyager raced back to Earth, pushing its engines beyond safety limits. Captain Kate Martinez had never seen Ambassador Murphy so angry. He spent most of the journey sending urgent messages to President Campbell, preparing her for what was coming. They're going to follow us, aren't they? Lily asked as she joined Jack in the ship's communication room. Jack nodded grimly. The council won't let this stand. They've never had a primitive species tell them no. 3 days after their return to Earth, the council's response arrived. A sleek alien vessel, 3 times the size of Earth's largest warship, appeared in orbit. President Susan Campbell called an emergency meeting in the White House underground bunker. They're requesting permission to land a diplomatic team, said General Alan Wright, studying the data from Earth's defense systems. 5 representatives led by someone named Exandrel. Jack paced the room. I know him. He's one of the hardliners who believe humans are dangerous children who need strict control. President Campbell, a tall woman with steel gray hair, stood at the head of the table. Let them come. We need to hear what they're offering now. The meeting was set for the United Nations headquarters in New York. Security was tight as the alien delegation arrived in a small shuttle. Xandrel was tall and thin with pale blue skin and 6 fingers on each hand. His eyes were completely black, making his expressions hard to read. President Campbell, the alien said with a slight bow. The council regrets the misunderstanding with Ambassador Murphy. We hope to clarify our position. There was no misunderstanding, Jack said sharply. Your terms were perfectly clear. Xandrel's face remained emotionless. The council has existed for 50,000 years. We have guided hundreds of species through their development. The protocols exist for good reason. President Campbell leaned forward. We appreciate your concern, but humanity will chart its own path. You do not understand the dangers, Xandrel replied. There are predatory species in the galaxy that would exploit your world. There are resources and technologies too dangerous for developing species. Dr. Noah Garcia, Earth's leading physicist, spoke up from his seat near the end of the table. You mean technologies like your ship's gravity drive, or the particle beam weapons it carries? Xandrel's head turned sharply. How do you know about those systems? A small smile appeared on Dr. Garcia's face. We've been analyzing your ship since it arrived. Fascinating technology, but we've already found several ways to improve its efficiency. The alien delegation whispered among themselves in their own language. Jack could see they were disturbed by this revelation. Xandrel regained his composure. This proves our point. Humans advance too quickly without understanding the consequences. The Council demands Earth accept protected status immediately, or we will be forced to implement quarantine protocols. Demands. President Campbell's voice was cold. Earth doesn't respond well to threats. Ambassador Xandrel. The alien's fingers tapped a sequence on a small device on his wrist. This is not a threat. It is reality. Our ship in orbit is just the first. A Council enforcement fleet is already on its way. General Wright slid a tablet across the table to the President. She glanced at it and smiled. Perhaps you should check in with your ship, Ambassador. Xandrel's communication device chimed. When he answered, the voice on the other end sounded alarmed. After a brief exchange in their language, the alien looked up with what seemed like shock. What have you done? He demanded. Nothing yet, General Wright said. But we've deployed our defense platforms. Your sensors can now detect them because we allowed it. 27 satellites with energy weapons based on your own technology, all locked on your vessel. Impossible, one of the other aliens muttered. They couldn't have developed such systems so quickly. Dr. Garcia smiled again. Humans are quite adaptable. We've been studying fragments of alien technology that crashed on Earth for decades. Your arrival just helped us fill in some gaps. President Campbell stood up. Return to your ship, Ambassador. Tell the Council that Earth rejects their protection. We're willing to join the galactic community as equals or not at all. The choice is theirs. As the alien delegation left in stunned silence, Jack turned to Lily. Now the real work begins. They'll be back with more ships. Lily nodded. And we'll be ready. 2 weeks after the Council delegation left Earth, the planet was busy preparing for possible war. Every nation put aside their differences to face the alien threat. Factories switched from making cars to building weapons. Scientists worked day and night to understand alien technology. Dr. Lisa Chen hadn't slept properly in days. Her lab at the Global Defense Research Center was filled with holographic displays showing alien shield designs. She rubbed her tired eyes and took another sip of cold coffee. "You need to rest," said Dr. Noah Garcia as he entered the lab. His own eyes were red from lack of sleep. "Not until I figure this out," Lisa replied. "There's something wrong with these shield patterns. They shouldn't work as well as they do." Noah looked at her calculations. "Maybe we're thinking too much like humans." Meanwhile, at the newly formed Space Command Headquarters, Admiral Peter Woods reviewed the growing human fleet. Before the aliens came, Earth had only a few small ships for traveling between planets. Now they had converted every space station and large satellite into armed platforms. It wasn't much compared to what the Council could send, but it might give them a chance. "The Russians have finished arming their space station," reported Ben Howard, his intelligence officer. "The Chinese lunar base has installed the new laser system. But will any of it be enough?" Admiral Woods studied the star maps. "We don't need to win. We just need to make the fight too costly for them." In orbit around Earth, Captain Kate Martinez prepared the Star Voyager for a dangerous mission. The ship had been upgraded with the best technology Earth could produce. "We leave at 600 tomorrow," she told her crew. "Our mission is to gather information from neutral trading posts at the edge of Council space. We need to know what we're really facing." Her first officer, Talia Ross, looked concerned. "The Council will be watching for us. That's why we're not using official channels," Kate replied with a small smile. "We'll be traveling as independent traders. Earth needs eyes and ears out there." In the Galactic Council's main chamber, the debate about Earth continued. The Great Hall was filled with angry voices as representatives argued about how to handle the rebellious humans. "We must crush them now, before they spread their chaos," shouted Krell, the military director. His red scales flared with anger. "One swift strike to show our power." Others disagreed. Vexnur, a tall, slender alien with 4 eyes, raised her voice. "The humans have shown remarkable adaptability. A show of force might unite them further. We should try diplomacy again." Council Elder Drath, one of the oldest members, finally spoke. His ancient voice silenced the room. "In all my centuries, I have never seen a species advance so quickly or refuse our guidance so completely. The humans are dangerous, yes, but also interesting. Perhaps we should observe longer before acting." Krell slammed his fist on the table. "While we debate, they prepare. Our scouts report they are building weapons, strengthening their defenses. They even sent a ship beyond their system yesterday." Back on Earth, in a secret mountain facility, Dr. Lisa Chen finally made a breakthrough. She burst into President Campbell's emergency meeting, her face flushed with excitement. "I found it," she exclaimed, forgetting all protocol. "The flaw in their shield technology." President Campbell gestured for her to continue. Government leaders and military officers leaned forward. "Their shields are perfect against energy weapons coming from certain angles," Lisa explained, pulling up a hologram. "But they have blind spots, small, but real. If we hit them from these precise points, we can break through." General Wright studied the data. "Can we redesign our weapons to target these weaknesses?" Already working on it, Lisa replied. And there's more. Their ships rely on a specific frequency for internal communications. If we can disrupt it, we might be able to confuse their targeting systems. For the first time since the crisis began, hope appeared on President Campbell's face. How soon can we implement these discoveries? A week for the shield penetration technology. No replied. Maybe 2 for the communication disruptors. President Campbell nodded grimly. Let's hope that's enough time. Our intelligence suggests the Council is planning something big. As Earth prepared for war, Captain Martinez's ship slipped quietly through the stars, heading toward a distant trading hub where aliens of all kinds gathered. If humans were going to survive, they needed allies, or at least better information about their enemies. The Council war fleet gathered at the edge of Earth's solar system. 20 large warships and dozens of smaller vessels prepared for what Military Director Krell called a limited demonstration strike. Their target was the human lunar base, home to 5,000 people. A clean, precise attack, Krell explained to the Council representatives watching from the command ship. We will destroy their military installations on the moon without harming the Earth. This will show humans the price of defiance without causing mass casualties. The ships moved forward in perfect formation. On the main view screen, Earth's moon grew larger. No sign they've detected us, reported a sensor officer. Their primitive technology cannot see through our stealth fields. Krell smiled, his pointed teeth gleaming. Begin the attack sequence. On the lunar base, Major Sam Ellis was drinking coffee in the control center when alarms suddenly blared. Screens lit up with warnings as the base's new detection system spotted the incoming fleet. Battle stations, Sam shouted, spilling his coffee as he ran to the command console. Contact Earth immediately. The base had only been armed 2 weeks earlier with experimental weapons based on Dr. Chen's research. Most of the crew were scientists and engineers, not soldiers. Nobody knew if the defenses would actually work. Sam opened a channel to all sections. This is not a drill. All non-essential personnel to emergency shelters. Defense teams to your positions. On Earth, President Campbell and her advisors watched the situation unfold with growing horror. How many ships? She asked. At least 20 large vessels, General Wright replied. More than we expected for a first strike. Activate the planetary defense system, Campbell ordered, and pray it works. Back on the moon, Sam waited until the alien fleet was within range. The Council ships moved with confidence, clearly not expecting any real resistance. Target their lead vessels, Sam told his weapons officer. Use the frequencies Dr. Chen provided. The lunar base's hidden weapons powered up. Beams of energy shot into space, aimed at the precise shield vulnerabilities Dr. Chen had discovered. The first beam hit the lead Council ship exactly at its weak point. The alien shield flickered and failed. On the Council command ship, Krell stared in disbelief. Impossible. How did they target the shield junction so precisely? Before he could recover from his shock, 5 more lunar defense weapons fired. 3 more Council ships lost shields. A 4th took direct damage to its engines. They shouldn't have this technology. Krell shouted as the perfect formation broke apart in confusion. Meanwhile, far from Earth, Captain Kate Martinez and the Star Voyager detected the attack through their long-range sensors. Kate made a split-second decision. Change of plans, she told her crew. Set course for the Council outpost in Sector 7. Her first officer, Talia Ross, looked surprised. That's a military installation. We're outgunned. Yes, but they'll have moved most of their forces to attack Earth, Kate explained, and they won't expect us to attack them. The Star Voyager raced through space toward the lightly defended outpost. Back at Earth's moon, the battle was turning in humanity's favor. The Council ships, shocked by the effectiveness of human weapons, began to retreat. Major Sam couldn't believe what he was seeing. They're pulling back. We actually did it. The Council command ship shook as another energy beam grazed its hull. Krell ordered a full withdrawal, his face dark with rage and shame. This changes nothing, he snarled. We will return with a proper fleet. But the damage was already done. News of the failed attack spread quickly through the galaxy. On a dozen worlds, species who had chafed under council rule for centuries watched with interest as humans had done what none had dared before. At the trading hub where Captain Martinez had originally planned to gather intelligence, aliens whispered about the battle. Some with fear, others with hope. "Is it true?" A small green alien asked a trader. "Did the humans actually defeat a council fleet?" The trader, a veteran of many space lanes, nodded slowly. "Not just defeated. Humiliated. The council has never failed so publicly before." As the council ships limped home and Earth celebrated its first victory, Captain Martinez's Star Voyager silently approached the council outpost. Her plan was simple but daring. While the council was distracted by their defeat, she would capture vital intelligence that might help Earth survive the coming war. "Ready for attack run," Talia reported. Kate nodded, her eyes fixed on the target ahead. "Let's show them humans can strike back." Captain Kate Martinez stood on the bridge of the Star Voyager, surveying the captured council outpost. The attack had been quick and successful. With most of the council forces focused on Earth, the outpost had fallen in less than 3 hours. "Download everything from their databases," Kate ordered. "We need to be gone before reinforcements arrive." Talia Ross nodded, directing the team of engineers who were copying alien data files. "This is incredible, Captain. Their entire communication network, defense plans, even historical records. Back on Earth, news of the successful lunar defense had created a wave of celebration. For the first time since the crisis began, humans felt they might have a chance against the vastly more advanced aliens. President Campbell, however, knew better than to get overconfident. "One victory doesn't win a war," she told her cabinet. "The council will return with a larger force." Ambassador Jack Murphy was meeting with his diplomatic team when an urgent message arrived. It was encoded using an unfamiliar method, but Earth's computers quickly translated it. "It's from someone named Vex Nor," Jack told Lily Bennett. "She's a council member from the Trelawney species. She wants to meet secretly." Lily looked concerned. "It could be a trap." "Possibly," Jack agreed. "But it says there are others who want to talk. 3 species who disagree with the Council's approach to Earth." After consulting with President Campbell, Jack agreed to the meeting. A small ship would take him to a neutral location, a mining asteroid far from both Earth and Council space. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, news of the human victory was causing ripples. On the planet Drozia, whose people had been under Council protection for 7 centuries, crowds gathered in cities. "If humans can stand against the Council, why can't we?" shouted a Drozian leader to the cheering crowd. Similar demonstrations broke out on 5 other worlds where species had long resented Council control. In the Grand Council chamber, the mood was dark. Military Director Krell had been removed from his position after the failed attack. Many representatives were arguing loudly about what to do next. "We must crush the humans with overwhelming force," shouted one. "No, we should negotiate. They have proven themselves worthy of respect," countered another. Council Elder Drath watched the chaos with ancient, calculating eyes. The humans had disrupted the careful order he had maintained for centuries. This could not be allowed to continue. At the secret meeting location, Jack Murphy waited nervously with a small security team. A sleek ship approached, bearing no Council markings. 3 aliens emerged. Vexenor was tall and slender with 4 eyes set in a diamond pattern. The others were species Jack hadn't seen before. "Ambassador Murphy," Vexenor said, "we come without official authorization. What I am about to tell you could be considered treason by the Council." Jack nodded for her to continue. "The Council is not what it appears," Vexenor explained. "It was created to promote peace and cooperation, but over centuries, certain members have twisted its purpose. Many worlds are not protected. They are controlled, their resources harvested, their development stunted." "Why are you telling me this?" Jack asked. "Because humans have done what no species has done in millennia. successfully defied the Council. There are many who secretly hope you continue to succeed. Meanwhile, Lily Bennett was working late in the diplomatic offices when she found something strange in the data Captain Martinez had recovered. She called Dr. Garcia immediately. "Noah, I need your help with these files," she said urgently. "I think I've found something about Earth's history with the Council." Dr. Garcia arrived quickly. Together, they sorted through thousands of alien records. "This can't be right," Lily whispered as they uncovered the truth. According to these records, Council ships have been visiting Earth for over 300 years. They'd been deliberately interfering with our development. Dr. Garcia studied the evidence with growing anger. They sabotaged early space missions. They planted disinformation. They wanted to keep us isolated and primitive. "We need to tell the president," Lily said. "This changes everything." As Jack Murphy formed a secret alliance with Council dissidents, and Lily uncovered the truth about Earth's past, Captain Martinez's Star Voyager raced home with its valuable stolen data. The pieces were falling into place for humanity's greatest challenge, and perhaps its greatest triumph. 1 month after the failed attack on the lunar base, Earth was ready to take its next step. Greg Daniels, Earth's Strategic Operations Director, stood before a room of military and political leaders. "The time has come to exploit the divisions within the Council," Greg explained, pointing to a holographic map of Council space. "Thanks to Ambassador Murphy's meetings with dissidents, we know at least 5 species are unhappy with Council leadership." President Campbell studied the map. "Can these species actually help us?" "They can," Ambassador Frank Johnson said. He had been working with Murphy to establish relationships with potential alien allies. "The Trelawney control key trade routes. The Moxons have advanced medical technology. The Vizi can provide us with faster ships. And they're willing to break with the Council," General Wright asked. "That's a big risk for them." "They need to see we can win," Great replied, "or at least survive. Our job is to show them the Council isn't as powerful as everyone believes." Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council was facing its greatest crisis in thousands of years. In the central chamber, arguments grew heated. "The humans have made contact with the Trelawney," shouted an angry representative. "They are turning our own members against us." Council Elder Drath watched silently, his ancient eyes narrowed. For millennia, he and a small group of elders had controlled the Council from the shadows, using it to keep other species weak and divided. Human defiance threatened everything. "We must blockade Earth immediately," Drath finally said. "Cut them off from all contact with other worlds." The Council quickly approved the plan. 100 ships would surround Earth's solar system, preventing any vessels from entering or leaving. On Earth, Lily Bennett brought this news to President Campbell. "Our spies report the blockade will begin in 3 days. Then we move now," the president decided. "Tell Captain Baker it's time." Captain Ryan Baker commanded Earth's newest ship, the battle cruiser Defiant. Built with technology reverse-engineered from alien designs, it was faster and more heavily armed than anything humans had created before. "All systems ready," Ryan reported from the bridge of the Defiant. Strike force prepared for jump. The plan was bold. While the Council gathered ships for their blockade, Earth would launch a surprise attack on the assembly point. Not to destroy the alien fleet, that would be impossible, but to create confusion and demonstrate human resolve. In deep space, the Council blockade fleet gathered. Ships arrived from all corners of Council space, preparing to isolate Earth completely. "All vessels will be in position within 12 hours, reported the fleet commander to Council Elder Drath. "Earth will be cut off from." Alarms suddenly blared across the command ship. On the main view screen, 5 human vessels appeared, led by the Defiant. "How did they find us?" the commander gasped. "How did they get here so quickly?" The human ships moved in an unusual formation, following no pattern the Council tacticians recognized. Before the aliens could organize a response, the Earth vessels opened fire. "They're not targeting our ships," a sensor officer reported in confusion. they're firing at. The space between our vessels. Elder Drath understood first. It's a disruption pattern. Block those frequencies. But it was too late. The carefully coordinated human attack created an electromagnetic storm that disabled communication between council ships. In the confusion that followed, 3 vessels collided. On the Defiance Bridge, Captain Baker watched with satisfaction. Now for Phase 2. Target their command ship's engines, just like we practiced. The Defiant accelerated suddenly, moving in a way no council ship could match. It fired precisely at the command ship's engine section, using the weakness Dr. Chen had discovered. Throughout the council fleet, ships scrambled to respond. But without central coordination, their movements became chaotic. Some fired weapons that hit their own allies. "This is impossible," Elder Drath whispered as he watched his perfect blockade fall apart. "They're just humans." The Earth ships didn't stay to fight. Once they had created sufficient chaos, they jumped away, disappearing as suddenly as they had arrived. News of the successful strike spread quickly. On 5 council worlds, representatives publicly questioned their leaders' handling of the human problem. The Trelawney were the first to formally break ties with the council, signing a separate treaty with Earth. "The balance is shifting," Ambassador Frank Johnson told President Campbell as they reviewed reports of the battle. "For the first time, species are choosing sides, and they're choosing us." President Campbell nodded. "But the hardliners will only fight harder now. The real war is just beginning." Lily Bennett could hardly believe what she was seeing. For days, she and Dr. Nathan Black, Earth's leading xenohistorian, had been studying the data Captain Martinez had stolen from the council outpost. "This can't be right," Nathan said, his voice shocked as he reviewed another file. "According to these records, council ships deliberately sabotaged the early Mars missions in the 2030s. Lily nodded grimly. "And look at this. They've been intercepting our deep space signals for over a century. They've known about us the whole time." The evidence was overwhelming. The Council hadn't just found Earth recently. They had been monitoring humanity for generations, deliberately interfering to slow human progress, sabotaging key technological developments, and ensuring Earth remained isolated from galactic society. "The President needs to see this immediately," Lily said. President Campbell was equally shocked by the revelation. "So all this time they've been keeping us in the dark, making sure we stayed primitive by their standards." "Not just us," Dr. Black explained. "According to these files, they'd done this to dozens of species. It's how they maintain control. They decide which species advance and when." Commander Laura Hayes, leader of Earth's main defense fleet, looked up from the reports. "Ma'am, with your permission, I'd like to share this information with our new allies." The President considered this. "Do it. The whole galaxy needs to know the truth." Within days, the revelations about Council manipulation spread across every world with access to interstellar communications. Kelly Ward, Earth's communications specialist, worked tirelessly to ensure the evidence reached every corner of the galaxy, bypassing Council sensors using techniques developed by human hackers. On planet after planet, species that had lived under Council protection for centuries learned they had been deliberately held back. The Drosians discovered their failed early space program had actually been sabotage. The Kaltar people learned their natural disasters had been engineered to keep them dependent on Council aid. The reaction was immediate and dramatic. 7 more species formally broke ties with the Council. Protests erupted on dozens of worlds. The Council's carefully maintained order began to crumble. In the Grand Council chamber, Elder Drath faced growing opposition. Younger representatives demanded explanations, reforms, even his resignation. "This is human propaganda," Drath shouted over the noise. "They fabricated these documents to divide us." But too many had seen the evidence, verified its authenticity using their own records. The Council was fracturing before his eyes. In a private meeting room, Drath gathered the remaining loyal representatives. "We have no choice now," he said, his ancient voice cold with anger. We must crush Earth completely. Only a decisive victory will restore our authority. Council Supreme Zorth nodded in agreement. The other rebellious species lack Earth's military capabilities. Destroy the humans, and the others will fall back in line. The decision was made in secret. The Council would launch an all-out attack on Earth, breaking their own ancient ethical protocols against attacking developing worlds with overwhelming force. A fleet of 300 warships began to assemble, the largest military force the galaxy had seen in 1,000 years. On Earth, the growing alliance of former Council members and independent species prepared for the coming battle. Ships from the Trelawney, Muxons, and 5 other species joined Earth's defense fleet. Commander Hayes addressed the combined forces from the bridge of her flagship. "We know they're coming. Our intelligence suggests this will be their largest attack yet. But we have something they don't. We are fighting for our freedom, not control." Dr. Chen and her team worked frantically to share their shield-penetrating technology with the Allied ships. Captain Baker trained alien crews in human battle tactics that confused Council targeting systems. President Campbell met with her War Council. "This will be the decisive battle," she told them. "Either we break the Council's power forever, or Earth falls." Ambassador Murphy, just returned from meetings with their newest allies, looked around the table. "Whatever happens, we've already won something important. We've shown the galaxy that no species has to accept being controlled. The truth is out there now. It can't be taken back." As the massive Council armada approached Earth, humanity prepared for the greatest fight in its history, not just for their own survival, but for the freedom of countless other species across the stars. The space around Earth lit up with weapons fire as the largest battle in galactic history raged. 300 Council warships faced off against Earth's combined fleet of human and allied vessels. The Council had expected an easy victory. They were wrong. Admiral Dan Collins coordinated the defense from his command ship. Group 3, maintain formation. Target their command vessels using pattern Baker 7. Earth ships moved in unpredictable ways, using tactics no Council commander had ever seen. Allied vessels from 7 different species followed human battle plans, striking with precision at Council weak points. On the Council flagship, Supreme Zorth watched in growing horror as his perfect battle plan fell apart. "This cannot be happening. They are just primitives." Elder Drath's ancient face showed genuine fear for the first time in centuries. "They fight like nothing we've ever seen. No logical patterns, no predictable responses." A massive explosion rocked their ship as a human weapon found its mark. Warning lights flashed across command consoles. "We've lost 30 ships already," reported a Council officer. "The Trelawney fleet is breaking through our left flank." On Earth, President Campbell and her advisors watched the battle unfold on giant screens. Despite humanity's clever tactics and the help of their allies, the Council's superior numbers were beginning to tell. Human ships were being destroyed one by one. "We can't hold them much longer," General Wright said grimly. "There are too many." Lily Bennett looked up from her communication console. "Madam President, we're receiving a message from the Vizi fleet. They've arrived with 50 ships and are asking where to join the battle." Hope flashed across the President's face. The Vizi had been neutral until now. Their advanced ships could turn the tide. In space, Admiral Collins saw the Vizi fleet emerge from hyperspace behind the Council forces. "All ships, fall back to position Delta. Let our new friends say hello." The Vizi ships struck the surprised Council fleet from behind. Caught between 2 forces, the Council formation began to break apart. On his flagship, Captain Ryan Baker targeted the Council command ship directly. "All weapons, fire on my mark. Target their main power core using Dr. Chen's frequencies." The Defiance weapons hit the Council flagship with devastating accuracy. Explosions bloomed across its hull as shields failed and vital systems were destroyed. On the Council command deck, Supreme Zorth gave the order he never thought he would give. "All ships, retreat. We cannot win this day." As the Council fleet began to withdraw, A cheer went up across every human and allied ship. Against all odds, Earth had won. 1 week later, representatives from 27 species gathered on Earth for a historic meeting. The Galactic Council was officially dissolved. In its place, the new Interstellar Confederation was formed, based on principles of equality and self-determination. Jack Murphy, who had begun this journey as Earth's defiant ambassador, stood before the gathered representatives. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history. No longer will any species claim the right to control another. No longer will technological development be artificially restricted. Each world will chart its own course, with mutual respect and cooperation. The first act of the new confederation was to elect its leadership council. Jack Murphy was chosen as one of 7 representatives, a human standing equal with members of much older civilizations. Michelle Parker, the architect of the new confederation's charter, watched with pride as the document was signed by all member species. "We did what many thought impossible," she told Jack. "We changed the rules of a game that's been played for thousands of years." In a corner of the Grand Hall, former council speaker Zornthal watched with mixed emotions. He approached Jack after the ceremony. "I still do not fully understand how your species accomplished this," the alien admitted. "You were outnumbered, outgunned, technologically inferior." Jack smiled. "That's been the story of humanity since we first looked up at the stars. We've always had to overcome impossible odds. It's what we do best." Lily Bennett, now appointed as Earth's first ambassador to the Confederation, joined them. "The real work begins now. Building something new is always harder than tearing down the old." As representatives of dozens of species mingled and talked, sharing ideas and plans for the future, humanity had already begun changing the galaxy. Their unique perspectives, born from thousands of years of struggle on a single world, were now helping to solve problems that had plagued other species for millennia. The species that the Council had once dismissed as dangerous primitives had become the architects of a new galactic order. And they were just getting started.